All right. Thank you so much for joining everyone today. Today I have the incredible, the one and the only Ameenah Asante. She's an artist, dancer, coach, and healer, and most importantly, a mother. And I love her bio description in her Instagram account. Fanatical love conjurer, obsessed with raising the world's frequency to freedom through love and life exchange. I love it.
Raise it, girl. Raise it. Let's do it.
Yep, all the way.
Your energy is so magnetic. I just love how loving and expansive you are. But how do you describe yourself as an individual or as a human or a spirit? And what is the fun fact that most people don't know about you?
Oh, goodness. I would describe myself, there's the titles, but when it all comes down to it, it just boils down to just energy, right? Since I was a kid, I've always been one to just really just flow through life, flow through energy. I'm attracted to what feels good and what calls me. And so to just really be pinned down to one thing has been so difficult. I want to do it all. I do it all. I love it all. And I just enjoy my time here on this earth. I know spiritually, I definitely believe in, reincarnation and that I've been here many times before. And I'm so excited for this life. I'm so excited for my kids, the little ones that chose me, right? And I'm excited for the work that I do and to be connected to beautiful, 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 loving people like my buddy, Yuko.
Oh, love that. And what is the fun fact that most people don't know about you?
That's the thing. I'm really an open book. I don't think there's very much that people don't know about me. I really put so much of myself out there. But let's see. For those that don't know me, I spent 15 years living in Japan, and it was incredible. Just a life changing experience for me.
I remember the first time I met you, and you said, I lived in Japan, and you started talking to me in Japanese, and you what? And you're still like really fluent in Japanese. And when people say like I lived in Japan for XYZ amount of time, they remember a few sentences here and there, and you are fluent.
Oh, no, no, no. Girl, the Japanese is on struggle, but I appreciate that you have that much faith in me.
Oh my god, I love it. So, yeah, for the folks who are just getting to know you and your beautiful work, like, can you share a little bit of what are your journey and adventure in Japan like?
Oh my gosh, I had an amazing time. And it really boiled down to just the experiences that chose me while I was in Japan, right? It wasn't Japan itself, it wasn't anything like that. It just was the perfect time, the perfect circumstance. So I originally went to Japan I had studied Japanese as my minor in undergrad. I went to Japan to make sure that I would study, I would use the language that I studied, and that I wouldn't have wasted all this time and money. So I was working for the Japanese government in a prefecture called Shizuoka. It's one of the prefectures that houses Mount Fuji, and was just in this beautiful city, Fujinomiya, and had like this amazing supervisor that was just very understanding. And I got to explore, all of Japan and Tokyo, and I ended up being connected with the dance world in Tokyo. And so that was the game changer for me. I've been a dancer my whole life. Being able to go and teach dance downtown Tokyo and be respected and be supported and be paid well was like insane. I was like 23 years old, like with these classes in Roppongi and Omotesando, and just living it up. It was so, so, so great.
I love that. And for those of you who would like to see what Ameenah's classes are like, please go to her YouTube channel and check out her
Oh my
awesome
God.
videos. I just want to put that out there.
Oh, thank you, babe. It has been a hot minute since I added a video, but I do have like several hundred videos on my Instagram or on my YouTube. Fun times.
Through that video or anything you do, and even in the description that I shared earlier on Instagram, but I am in love with how obsessed you are with the energy and the raising the vibration and the frequency. And then now that we're talking about the movement and dance, when discovered the love for dance and when did it become spiritual?
That's an excellent question. So for me, I was born into a traditional African dance company. And so my mom danced with the company like in the 70s and 80s in utero in dance class, right? I just found myself probably 3 years old is my earliest memory of being on stage and just really connecting to music and movement. I would say dance for me became spiritual probably right in, say, when I was like 14 or 15. I started teaching dance when I was 14. My music teacher, I had auditioned for spring review, which was music and dance with a friend. And we didn't make it with our little duet, but she said, Ameenah, even though you didn't make it, this was the best choreography I've ever seen. I was like, okay, interesting.
Wow.
And from there, she hired me to choreograph the musicals for junior high and high school. I just started, doing choreography from there. There's something very spiritual, as I'm sure you know, with music and how it just floods the soul with emotion. As a choreographer, you allow yourself to be in the music, to be in the fullness of the experience and the intention, and with that, it just opens this whole different world. And so I just remember probably being like 15 and just having to, or getting to choreograph for like assemblies and different things and just being so deep in the work itself and just loving all of the experience. So,
That's really early to be diving into the spiritual work of the art form.
yeah,
Were you
Intentionally aware of spiritual connection in your body?
I would say yes. My parents growing up were relatively woo woo.
I love it.
My dad mainly would speak a lot on like metaphysics and just spirituality and Egypt and all of these different things where, when you're 7 hearing about vortex and the different worlds and all of these things, it really does plant beautiful seeds. But at the same time, I was depending on my own spiritual gifts as a human, knowing things before they actually took place. My mom used to come to me and ask me questions. And she said, like, what, when I was older, she said, I mean, you just knew things. And so I would come and check with you about things. And I guess I'd provide answers. But yes, I've always had this awareness. The second part of your question was about the awareness within my body and with movement. I mean, it's always been like synonymous. There's no separation between what comes from source and what is in the body because it's all one, right?
Absolutely. And I bet your student always felt that.
I've heard some things. I remember I did a master class maybe 2015 in Oregon, in Portland, and I used this classical music as our cool down, and the whole time was just intense. But they used this very special piece to me, and as soon as that last note hit and I'm like done moving and like the whole audience is like completely still and just like nobody knew what to do, and you could just feel like collectively like the space just breathing, and like some people were crying. Just it was really intense. I was crying because it was just the I have so much gratitude when I'm able to share my work. It just feels amazing. So
That's so much more deeper than learning the movement, right? It's
It's
mhm.
beyond that.
your energetic exchange, then you're literally raising the vibration as someone who is that in tune energetically and holds space in so many different capacity. How do you take care of yourself after or before teaching classes or like working with your client?
For me, my alone time is really important. I don't know that I do or have needed to do certain things in order to be in this space for my work. It's always just I collect myself with my breath, and I allow myself to adhere to what it is like source is saying I need to do, right? And so like for performance, for example, I would find, a place where I can be alone and just be by myself for 5 minutes to like really connect and really get grounded. I have a way that where I see the work before it takes place. And so this talking about intention, and but also it's metaphysical, where I put myself in the space and I go through the experience and I experience all that I want to contribute and I want to leave, as well as how it will be received. And I just allow myself to have that process. And it doesn't matter whether or not it's an hour or if it's 5 minutes before. It's just having that space to connect with that which hasn't physically taken place, but energetically has gone before me, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense, and I love that way of setting an intention
Hmm.
because that allows us to get away from the idea of how it should manifest, and you really get to turn into inward and feel in the energy, feel in the connection, and feel in like raising the vibration. That is beautiful. And this is a June, actually, happy Juneteenth today.
Girl,
And
yes.
the energy in this world, it's so heightened right now.
Yeah.
Have that been affecting you? Or do you see a whole new possibility just because everybody's so heightened?
Right. For me, it's all gorgeous. It's all part of the process, and I'm so so grateful and I'm so excited. Of course, connecting to the fact that lives are being lost, lives have been lost, and lives will probably continue to be lost. But I have to connect with the knowledge that no seed that is planted today can produce fruit, right? Like it's not going to produce fruit immediately, right? It's going to take a minute. But then we're exactly where we're supposed to be. I remember when I talked to friends about like the Bush administration back in the day, and it's like we wouldn't have had Obama without Bush. We would not. There had been Al Gore, and there would have been no Obama. There wouldn't be a need for that change, right? And unfortunately, as much destruction as the current person in the White House is like creating with his words and his hate speech, we absolutely need that in order to fuel this revolution that's coming. It's sickening what is taking place and what it is that people that believe like him are doing. But this mass awareness, these people waking up. I just got a letter from a neighbor. She just brought something over, just like standing in the commitment and saying, "Hey, I love you. I love your children. Whatever it is you need, I have your support 100%." And I was like, I'm not even expecting anything like that. She just brought it by, set it on the porch. She just wanted to show, a way to just connect, right? And I've had like countless friends reach out as well. And this conversation wasn't happening in 2016. I remember being disgusted. My timeline went from happy rainbows and sunshine to like, ew, I thought we had this connection. I thought we were friends. How is it that you could believe in such a way and support, a person that hates people like me, you know? So, yeah, but it's all purpose, girl. We need it. We absolutely need it.
I truly agree with that because this has woken up so many people. And not only woken up so many people, but a lot of people are willing to do this work. Lots of people are willing to have the uncomfortable conversation and really getting to know themselves because otherwise none of the work happened. The willingness to face themselves in the ugly side and the fear, and that is so exciting to me.
Yes, absolutely.
Not only you are artist and creator, you are also a healer.
Yeah.
I remember you are always the grounding rock for when we work together, the transformation work at Momentum Education. What I really appreciate about you is the way you always bring people into love.
Mm.
like you already mentioned about the darkness, and you've been disgusted by what happened a while back ago and the current resident of the White House. Like when you feel that shadow side or you feel uncomfortable, like how do you face that?
I think this goes back to my teens again. To speak directly to what you're asking, I don't know that I identify things as uncomfortable.
Mm.
I'm so open to the awareness of purpose. Like I am purpose. It's not I'm finding my purpose, but I am purpose. And so when the energy shifts to a place that isn't necessarily ideal, like this isn't what I would choose, I have the feeling that it's supposed to be there. And so just as energy would come this way, I would move naturally or I would flow into it, just dancing with the energy that is present, right? In my teens, I served on, this is when I was like a, a new Christian, and I was on church boards, and I would serve nationally on church boards, and so I'd get flown all over America. And the city where I'm from, Lansing, is like this tiny like airport, and so I'd have to fly back or fly from Lansing on these little Cessnas, the tiny planes. And I remember early on, 10 other people on an airplane, like feeling like I might die. Like the turbulence is like taking the plane, it's going crazy, and I'm like, okay, I might die. And like, and what? The feeling of, okay, if I die today, then it's been, my I've done everything in this life that I was meant to do. And so having that experience like at 15, 16, and really like connecting to it is uncomfortable to be on this airplane and I don't know what's going to happen. But the very worst that could happen is that I'm no longer here. And if I'm no longer here, that means everything that I was supposed to do has been done. And I'm really grateful for that. That was, I mean, for me, that just erased so much pain and heartache, like for the future Ameenah, because I had dealt with the hardest stuff in those moments, if that makes sense.
I'm blown away by what you're sharing. I am the purpose, not I need to find a purpose. That is so beautiful. I've never heard that before, at least not to be put it in that way. And I personally had a long relationship with what's my purpose and how can I serve this place and how can I contribute. I always wondered how would one find a purpose, and now you say like I am the purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. It's us. I mean, when you look at the mathematic probability that you as a human being would be, even be, like that's it. That tells you right then and there that the moment that we were thought into existence and conceived, we were purpose, not
Right.
purposed. Purpose.
Sorry.
We definitely are purpose. Oh, I'm so excited to explore this new perspective. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, girl.
Yeah, I want to explore more about you and your creativity aside from dance. And I remember when we were working
Oh
Together,
gosh.
you wanted
What
to,
did I do? Oh
you
gosh.
say
no, you said you wanted to do a stand up.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So, yeah, tell me about like your experience of being in front of the people aside from dancing, or is it the same thing?
It's the same. It's just what naturally is like bubbling to the surface. And it's almost like that whole squirrel mentality, like, oh look, just having that focus change and just flowing with, an idea, what makes you feel good. I don't know what prompted the desire to do stand up, but I think that there's so many funny experiences that I've had, and usually when I'm in the midst of people, I enjoy having like that comedic banter. And so even if I never, actually stepped on a stage and did it, it's just the desire alone is great.
Your joy and your smile on stage is magnetic to begin with. So you just need to stand right in front of the microphone and start talking, and the people will just smile with you, vibe with you, jive with you. You got it all.
Girl, you know it would be dramatic. Like, when I started recording myself just to explore the comedy thing, it's so dramatic. Like, there's nothing just subdued about it. It's over the top.
I hope you will go on stage and do that.
We'll see. Do have to say I wasn't aware of this, but my older brother had like a little stint locally where he was doing comedy on stages. I was like, no way. We were just talking about this a couple months ago. So it was interesting timing.
There you go.
It's been such an amazing conversation, and I got to know you just a little bit more, and that is such a gift. So thank you for sharing. And I also want to ask you, like, you're raising the vibration, and I feel like you already answered the question, but what what would you like to see in this world? Like, that when you raise the vibration of the whole entire world in your vision, what does it look like?
So I would say um, connection. Connection, and I mean, love sounds so cliche, but it could never be really cliche, right? But connection, I think that all of the issues and the challenges that we face in the world are due to us not seeing each other, not understanding each other, and not willing to be present in the moments when our true selves can be seen, right? And so, without a desire to connect, we can't build trust. And without trust, we can't build, relationships, right? And so that's really what this is all about. And this is why I have to stand in a space of gratitude. I mean, we had a couple weeks ago when all of the major protests kicked off, a protest coming down the street. And me and my daughter, we went to, take some pictures and shoot some video. And I just looked at her and I said, "You want to join your first protest?" And we
Wow.
just joined in. And, it was a great experience to teach her about some things, but also like, have the conversation in the midst of the experience where I could say why people may feel the way they feel. And like this type of people are present at the protest, and perhaps this is where they're coming from, and really be willing to talk about the experience. There was a point where the protest ended up by a police station and city hall, and part of the crowd started chanting some things that I was uncomfortable with. So, I said, being aware of when it's time to go and why, and we just left. And but as we were leaving, there was the street was blocked off by our city's like SWAT cars that I have never even seen present. Like, I didn't even know that the police department had these. And inside of the vehicles, you saw people with the full gear and everything. And I'm on the corner and I'm just like bawling. Like, I'm holding my daughter Zion and I am crying and I'm saying, I'm so, so sorry that you have to grow up and have this be your reality, your experience. But also with that, I'm not sorry. I'm grateful, right? Um, and one of the officers inside the vehicle, probably recognized how scary it looked, and so he waved, and we waved back. It's not a situation where for her to be fearful, but just her to be aware, understanding that every single moment is absolutely purposed and precious, and that we have an opportunity. We can shift, we can move away, right? Or we can move towards and be in a space where we're not hiding, where we are understanding what it means to be a person of color, understanding what it means to be a woman or LGBTQ or a police officer or whomever, and really just opening our awareness and standing in this desire to to be better.
I am so grateful that your kids have you as a mother, so loving and beautiful and compassionate, and being able to teach them what it is to be in the time of this change or shift.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am so happy that they have you as a mother.
Yeah, I'm the lucky one. I've got the best preteens in the world. They are truly phenomenal.
I love it. So I have one more question before I let you go, but right before that, like, how can people learn about your amazing work and get in tune with your beautiful energy?
Message me. Message me. I even give my phone number. Like, I really am that connected to just the knowledge that if something in this conversation sparked a person's interest or heightened awareness or opened them in some way and they have a desire to reach out, come be with me. Just be with me. I used to say that I collect people. So many, connections across the world. It's just important for me to know people's story and who they are and whatnot. So you can find me on Instagram, Ameenah_loves, AMEENAH_LOVES, or my YouTube. You can just search Ameenah Asante. Last name is Asante. Um, yeah, Facebook. My phone number is 517-902-5820. And I do not mind a text, and we can just set up a call and have a conversation.
I really appreciate you for being that open to connect with people. And we need more people like you that desire to really connect with people. Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
Oh, I love you.
I love you too. So, the one last question with all these amazing insight that you just shared with me and audience, and what is call to action that you would like to share with the audience?
Call to action. So, a lot of people are really focused on the internal work, that transformational work, that growth and discovery. Um, Absolutely dive in, dive deeper, be willing to get messy, be willing to get vulnerable, which is your strength. It is your superpower, that vulnerability, and allow yourself to be seen in that vulnerability. And when you do that, that is the point in which, when you reach that place where you're willing to do that, that's the point in which you, like I said, are at your strongest, and you can really connect to another human being in a powerful way and give them permission to open up as well and create those connections. And so I suppose my call to action would be to have this be, um, not a head exercise, but a heart exercise. It's a Jan Levan that she loves to say that, um, where you are consciously in a space where you are discovering and that you are willing to connect with others and allowing them to discover as well. And so start small. Do you know your neighbors? Right? Do you know the names of the store clerk? Do you know the person at the gas station? Do you know your children's teachers by name, where they have that relationship with you where they can call? When's the last time you had a real open, vulnerable conversation with your parents? Do you know their full history? Do you know why they are the way that they are? So being curious and really standing in a space of discovery is one of the most beautiful things that you can do. That's why we're here. That's what we signed up for spiritually. We signed up for doing the hard work and growing through the discovery.
That's just so beautiful. I think I used the word beautiful like 100 times during this like conversation, but that's all I can say. Your soul is so beautiful, your
Oh, girl.
smile and everything about it. So thank you so much for sharing your words, your energy, and just being who you are.
Thank you. This has been amazing. I'm so grateful you thought of me. And I look forward to the ripples, even if it's just one person that is, beautifully affected by this. And I know that I am changed by this conversation with you. And I love you so much. Thank you for committing to the work and discovery and all of this power that is trapped in that little body, girl.
All right. Thank you, Mina.
Thank you, Yuko.